We brought in climate ourselves. Nobody pleaded this. Nobody argued climate in front of us. We said it's important to talk about climate in a water scarce country, and especially we said it's not a climate resilient move. And we stopped the extension of the plant, and we said that's it. So I'm just trying to tell you how हमारी growth कैसे हो रही है at the judicial side. So we started looking at infrastructure, human resource, climate trafficking, disaster preparedness. इतना बड़ा कैनवस हो गया है climate justice का. अच्छा, अब climate justice में जब हम आगे चलते हैं तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं? We've been giving directions in Lagari, in DG Cement, stop this, you can't do this, please go ahead, do this. This is all we can do. So, for example, in Lagari, we said कि climate change policy आपकी शेल्फ पे पड़ी हुई है 2012 की या 2002 की. आपने अभी तक कुछ किया क्यों नहीं? Go ahead and please implement. We can do that under the law. So we can push the government कि आपकी अपनी जो policy आप उसमें क्यों नहीं implement कर रहे on the basis of human rights. So please do it. So they started. We set up a climate change commission and they started implementing that. बताने का मकसद ये है कि हमारी directions क्या हैं? Please go ahead do this. Please go ahead do that. And largely it was adaptation. We're telling the government to go adapt. You see, and it was all adaptive directions. बाकू जाने के बाद ये पता चला है कि वेट अ मिनट, ये जो हम सारी डायरेक्शंस दे रहे हैं ये तो हवा में जा रही हैं, पैसा तो उनके पास है नहीं. अडेप्टिव कैसे डायरेक्शंस को इम्प्लीमेंट करें? हमें तो आके कह देते हैं कोर्ट में कि सब ठीक हो जाएगा, नहीं कर सकते. दे नीड मनी एंड वी टॉकिंग अबाउट ट्रिलियंस एंड बिलियंस ऑफ रुपीस एंड हाउ डिड वी डॉलर्स एक्चुअली. एंड व्हेन वी लुक एट द फ्लड इशू जो हमारे सामने आया तो 20 बिलियन का फिगर उधर हमारे सामने आ गया डॉलर्स का. एंड वी सॉ दैट नथिंग इज हैपनिंग. कहाँ से आएंगे पैसे और कैसे चेंज होगा? सो फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन बाकू आई रियलाइज दैट climate finance is actually the new climate justice. You see, climate justice without climate finance is a joke for us. I mean, I practically, as a judge, think that if you do not have climate finance, बाकी तो सारी गपशप है. मतलब there is no way that I can talk about climate justice if there is no climate finance there. So climate finance to me now becomes the new human right. I think it is directly connected with right to life. It is directly connected with right to dignity. Because if you do not have finance, and if you do not have climate finance, you cannot do climate justice. And if you do not do climate justice, you see how climate is affecting people. It is affecting the dignity of people because they have to migrate, leave their ancestral lands, go somewhere else. They can be totally, the droughts could take away their livelihoods, things like this. So right to life and right to dignity is directly connected with the right to climate finance. And I would now say, and maybe in jurisprudence that's going to be evolved soon, would be that climate justice is in effect climate finance, and climate finance is actually the new human right, which could be read into right to life and right to dignity. And unless we have that perspective, there's no way we can push for this money. And I'll just talk about where the money is going to come from. So at Baku, two things that I had learned. One was which Dr. Adil Lajam so beautifully put it. He said, देखो, mitigation, the global north has totally failed to mitigate. ये बात ठीक? They have failed to mitigate. तो उसका क्या result हुआ? Adaptation का concept पैदा हो गया. अगर mitigation resolve हो जाती तो adaptation का तो वक्त ही ना आता. So failure of mitigation is adaptation. And failure of adaptation is loss and damage. So we are on a total failure trajectory as I see it, because उन्होंने तो ये भी कहा कि 29th COP हो चुका है, तो 29th तक तो हम अभी नीचे ही जा रहे हैं, कुछ हो नहीं रहा. So that was worrying because this is exactly what's happening. We are at the loss and damage area, and tomorrow your adaptation might disappear totally and everything is loss and damage. And the difference between the two is in the loss and damage you need money immediately. Whereas in adaptation, you can have a slightly long-term perspective. But in a loss and damage issue, you'll have to get the money quickly. So money is important. And second is that the North, as I understood it, Baku, and I might be wrong, आप लोग experts हैं, I still have to probably understand this more fully, that the money is not coming. The financial organization, the global funds of the world are all there, it's all fancy conversation. But is the money actually trickling down? Is it really coming from there? So I started looking at this and I said, okay, how do we go tap the global fund? So the countries could be doing that, Paris Agreement, and he starts off with, Copenhagen, and you go down, I don't want to go into that, Cancun and all that. So I'm just saying there is Paris Agreement and there is the common but differentiated responsibilities, which say yes, they are bound to do that. So there's a lot of material creating an obligation on the global north to give this money. But when we look at it on a legal perspective, and I look at it as a judge, first of all, my court has no jurisdiction to go telling, the global north to give money. So मेरा तो jurisdiction problem भी आ जाता है. लेकिन how would Pakistan approach? How does it really work? And does it really trickle down? And has it trickled down so far? And then what if there is a dispute? Suppose I say that in the flood situation, my loss is 20 billion. And they say, so the committee there says, no, it's 5 billion. So where do I take the dispute? I don't know. Maybe there is a mechanism, but I don't know. I think it is kind of stuck in that kind of area. I find the whole structure to be a bit evasive and not available, maybe intentionally so, that we get to it rather late in life. So I don't know how the global network works and how many claims have we filed as a country and how much money is coming and what about the discussions and the conversations in this regard. That's one thing. Maybe it's lack of my understanding and knowledge, but I find it to be a very uphill task. Then I look at the local climate fund, and it's no disrespect to anybody. I think Ms. Rubina Khalid is doing amazing work that she is, but do not take it that I'm criticizing, but I'm just saying, understanding my own country, because the case came up before the Supreme Court and somebody said in a public interest litigation कि जी ये authority नहीं बनी हुई अभी तक, कि 2017 का act है, अभी तक तो authority इसके नीचे नहीं बनी. So then they went ahead, and I think now the case is not before us. हम जरा गैर आईनी बेंच के हैं, वो आईनी बेंच वाले सुन रहे हैं, तो उसमें वो बताएंगे कि बनी है कि नहीं. लेकिन बताने का मकसद ये है कि the authority was then, we pushed the government कि 2017 का law आया हुआ है. The apex authority in the country that has to deal with climate change is not there. So मतलब जरा अजीब लगता है कि इससे बड़ा existential threat नहीं है पाकिस्तान को, और authority नहीं बनी तो फिर authority का कोई काम शुरू हो गया. But more importantly, within the authority, within the act, there is a requirement under section 12 कि आप climate change fund बनाएंगे. और fund बन रहा होगा. I'm sure I'm not criticizing, and I'm very supportive of what she's doing. So I'm not saying it in that sense, but I think we need to have that fund. अब उधर फिर समझ नहीं आ रही कि कैसे fund चलता है. How do we approach the fund? How, suppose मेरा ज़मीन drought से खराब हो गई, where do I go? How do I go? I mean, excuse my ignorance, but I don't understand. Where is the rule? How do I apply to the fund? Who applies to the fund? What if the fund says no? Is it really connected to climate change? I don't know. I am a farmer. I would like articulate this point कि ये तो climate change से ही मेरा फसल खराब हुई है. पहले तो इसको क्रॉस करना है ना, फिर इसको क्रॉस करने के बाद मैं कहता हूँ जी मेरा 100 रुपए का नुकसान हुआ. वो कहते नहीं 100 नहीं 10 रुपए का. ये कौन फैसला करेगा? कैसे होगा? I don't know how the climate finance actually trickles down, and we talk about fundamental rights, right looking into your eyes and your face of Article 9 and Article 14. So वो उधर में जरा गड़बड़ हो जाती है, and I don't understand how to take it further. So that's where it also gets stuck. So then one thinks of कि प्राइवेट सेक्टर को कुछ मूव करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये क्लाइमेट फंड वाला कॉन्सेप्ट तो नहीं चल रहा है. इन वन ऑफ द कोर्ट हियरिंग्स वी आल्सो आस्क्ड देम कि भी रीसेंट बजट में आपने को क्लाइमेट के लिए मुख्तस किए हैं पैसे, तो वैसे ही नहीं. उन्होंने कहा नहीं हमने को क्लाइमेट फंड के लिए कोई पैसे नहीं डाले. तो हमने कहा अच्छा इससे बड़ा तो थ्रेट ही कोई नहीं, तो क्या डालते रहे आप पैसे, किधर भेज रहे हैं? तो वेल हमें पता है पैसे किधर जाते रहे. लेकिन सवाल ये है कि ये चीज़ें ठीक नहीं. अब इस तरह अगर सिलसिला चलता रहेगा तो एक अब नई टर्म आ गई है क्लाइमेट अपार्थाइड. सो अब फिर तो हम बहुत फर्क आ जाएगा ना, एक तरफ नॉर्थ हो जाएगा, एक तरफ साउथ हो जाएगा, और ये बहुत सी ज़्यादा हमारा गैप बहुत बढ़ जाएगा. सो हम क्या करें? तो फिर अब मेरे एक रास्ता जो मुझे अभी रिसेंटली हमने देखा कि इस्लामिक फाइनेंसिंग के बारे में भी बड़ी इस्लामिक क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस की भी बातें हो रही हैं, और उस पर बहुत से मलेशिया में, इंडोनेशिया में, आई डोंट वांट टू टेक यू थ्रू बॉन्ड्स वगैरह इशू हुए हैं. इज दैट अ वे टू गो फॉरवर्ड? आई एम नॉट अ फाइनेंशियल एक्सपर्ट, बट समथिंग हैज़ टू बी डन डोमेस्टिकली, मे बी एट द प्राइवेट सेक्टर, टू लुक एट दिस एस्पेक्ट, वरना तो ये एक प्रॉब्लम होगा. अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं एज अ कोर्ट? देखें, ये जब भी अगर फाइनेंस, पहले तो ये बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है कि फाइनेंस मूव नहीं कर रहा. वी वांट टू पुश दिस जहाँ से हमारे पास कोई आता है केस जिसमें हम पुश करना चाहें, मे बी हम गवर्नमेंट को बार बार कहेंगे कि आपने कौन से प्रोजेक्ट्स फाइल किए हैं, ग्लोबल फंड से कौन सा क्लेम किया है, कहाँ नेगोशिएशंस रुकी हुई हैं, क्या आपने किया है, ये हम पूछ सकते हैं इनसे. हम ये भी पूछ सकते हैं कि आपके अपने क्लाइमेट फंड में कितने पैसे हैं और कितने पैसे लोगों को आपने दिए अडेप्टेशन प्लान के नीचे, आपने लॉस एंड डैमेज के लिए कितने पैसे मुख्तस किए हैं और क्या किया अभी तक. तो ये चीज़ हम इनसे पूछ सकते हैं. Ms. Romina would be prepared to answer that when we get to the court for that, but that is a separate issue. Now the question is that there has to be some sort of finance that we need to develop. There are a number of ideas, but I don't want to get into. आप लोग experts हैं, आप लोगों को ज़्यादा पता है, और National Adaptation Plan खुद से कह रहा है कि ये चीज़ें करनी ज़रूरी हैं. उन्होंने सेक्टर्स भी बता दिए हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि पैसे हमें लाने पड़ेंगे अगर करना है. और आप लोग नेबरिंग कंट्रीज मलेशिया, इंडोनेशिया, सऊदी अरेबिया वगैरह को देख सकते हैं जिसमें इस्लामिक प्रिंसिपल्स भी ऑपरेटिव हैं, और प्रिंसिपल्स बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग है. मैं तो समझता हूँ इस पर रिलायंस करना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है बजाय ग्लोबल रिलायंस पे. और मुझे इस्लामिक जूरिस्प्रूडेंस से और इस्लामिक प्रिंसिपल से मिलता है, लाइक ज़कात. ठीक है जी, ज़कात फंड जो है, फंड्स फ्रॉम ज़कात कैन सपोर्ट वल्नरेबल पॉपुलेशंस फेसिंग क्लाइमेट रिस्क्स such as disaster victims in impoverished communities. Then what about waqf? ये बहुत बड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट है वक्फ मुस्लिम कंट्रीज में एंडाउमेंट्स का. Historically used for public welfare, waqf can be structured to finance projects like renewable energy, water conservation, disaster resilient infrastructure. ये एक तरीका हो सकता है. Sadqa, voluntary charity, now encouraged in Islam to alleviate suffering and promote welfare. Why can't we channelize it towards climate? What about Sukuk bonds, which is happening, Sharia compliant investment? Vehicles can be issued to fund large scale adaptation mitigation projects. Similarly, so कुछ Islamic principles से भी हम चीज़ें draw कर सकते हैं. इसलिए एक चीज़ मैं ज़्यादा हाईलाइट करना चाहूँगा, और आप एक्सपर्ट्स बैठे हैं और मुझसे बहुत ज़्यादा समझते हैं. I think there is no way we can move on climate finance if we don't have a sense of climate science. Because it is so deeply rooted. I think the whole structure of climate finance stands on climate science. I as a judge want to understand climate science. I think we all need to understand climate science. There's no way you can promote a case of climate finance unless there is a understanding and a good grip and a handle on climate science. And it is happening in other countries. All the satellite imagery, climate models, and emission tracking technologies are all used to measure effectiveness of funded projects, ensuring transparency and accountability. Examples in Bangladesh, for example, climate finance has funded flood resilient infrastructure based on hydrological studies, reducing vulnerability in flood prone areas, Kenya mein vagara vagara. So all I want to leave the thought here is that unless we understand climate science, ये जो फंडामेंटल राइट या ह्यूमन राइट की मैं बात कर रहा हूँ क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस की, वो सतही रह जाएगा. उसके लिए बहुत ज़रूरी है दैट यू हैव अ डीप अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ क्लाइमेट साइंस. सो हम क्या कर सकते हैं हमारे एंड पे, अब ये प्योरली जुडिशरी के साइड पे. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इंटरप्रिटेशनली वी नाउ वुड लाइक टू थिंक ऑफ क्लाइमेट जस्टिस एंड फाइनेंस as a human right. That's one. The other is that increasingly we're thinking that the entire new concept now moves from climate justice to reparative justice, because these are reparations. You see, this money has to come to us. So the new terminology, as I see it, is reparative justice, and I would call North's obligation to give us money is the climate debt. See, this is seriously a climate debt, and we need to very boldly argue it that fashion. We're not begging them. It's not a begging bowl. They are supposed to give it to us. This is an obligation under the international agreement. So that's how we're moving. Now, if you talk about disputes that will arise, we're willing to go ahead and start developing ADR, green climate ADR. We need to think of alternative dispute resolutions for climate, and we're prepared to provide you with that. We're saying, okay, tomorrow if you have disputes in this financing, we'll create climate ADR, alternative dispute resolutions, which will help you mediate these climate disputes. We're also thinking that yes, you can have climate arbitration, because that will be required. Sooner or later there will be disputes in these matters. We're also thinking of having climate courts if need be, because that would be required. You need to urgently, quickly, expeditiously decide these matters so that people are suffering. If there's a loss and damage issue and you're stuck in court for 20 years, there's no way you can resolve that. So I think sooner or later, you can mark my words, you require a climate court in this country, because where will that dispute go, which requires immediate attention? And if it gets stuck in the regular court structure, there's no way you can address climate change, and you can not really come to that problem. And one last thing that I've been saying repeatedly is that when you're talking about global finance and the money not coming or coming, would be that on the lines of International Court of Justice, we need to have a global climate court. And I would urge the government also to raise this voice internationally. We have the ICJ hearing going on these days, but this has to now come of age, in the sense that they need to now have a global court which deals with climate, because where will the policing be done? Who is going to tell the global north to give me money? And without a policeman, nothing happens. And I think that is the misfortune, I think, and that's why the money doesn't really flow the way it should flow, because there's no policing. So I think a global court is required. In the end, I just end with a quote that I really like. It's by an activist from India. The earth is not a commodity to be exploited. It is a community to which we belong, and so that's how we need to look at it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And we are now about towards the end. And